Hello and welcome to episode 29. So this has been a mess of an episode. First of all, I apologize for this being so late. My personal schedule has been just absolutely crazy, and for a little while I lost some motivation based on how hard one of the editing was for some of it, and I had to do a whole bunch of grinding for shinies, and it just, on the whole, everything was a mess. Anyway, as for episode 29, you may notice that what I'm actually doing on the screen at this point doesn't match up with the audio. Usually, if I'm talking, I'll take a moment to pause. But the reason for that is that the first time I recorded this section, it glitched. I will play a brief sample of the audio glitch here. So we've resurrected icon. Somewhat strategic. Yeah. So as you can hear, that was not salvageable. Unfortunately, there was nothing I could do to fix that. So I'm just kind of re-recording and going through, and I'm just gonna speed up. I had already planned to speed up all of the gym trainers anyway, and I had said that at one point. But I'm just gonna speed through that, especially now that I would have to re-record all of my audio, which would be a massive pain. Unfortunately, I am at one point going to have to re-record my audio because I had recorded this in two sections. Because you see, I had queued up for the Raihan fight and then realized, oh crap, my Lapras is not Gigantamaxing, it's just normal Dynamaxing. And so I was stuck then. I realized that the whole point I brought back Iconic for was just so that we could experience the G-Max Lapras once, and because I had, the fun weather team planned. And so what I ended up doing is I ended up having to go back to the Isle of Armor and hunt down more Max Mushrooms, because then at that point I had run out of Max Mushrooms since I had fed Lapras soup twice apparently instead of just once as I had thought. So I ended up spending an hour and a half just grinding max raids and just trying to get all that done so that I could get enough mushrooms to give Lapras soup so that it could Gigantamax again. And so you'll see there's some false start footage where I started with the Raihan and then I just soft reset, or hard reset maybe, even I guess there is no soft reset in this game. But I hard reset, which I felt was fair because the whole point was to G-Max Lapras, and nothing had died yet, so I couldn't be accused of trying to just manipulate or undo deaths. So I ended up going back and, like I said, I farmed out the mushrooms, and then at that point what I did was I went back, I started the footage again after that hour and a half of grinding, and then I went to go and fight Raihan. And the problem with that was that my mic was somehow set to muted. And so not only do I have the audio glitching in the first section of this video clip, but I then have absolutely no audio whatsoever for the second half. So I'm going to have to re-record over the Raihan footage with approximately what my reactions were at the time. That it's just not going to be as good. So this is going to be audio issues, the episode. So yeah, hopefully I have talked by now for long enough that I have gotten to the Raihan fight, and we can do that. So yeah, without further ado, I have sped this up properly to where now I'm about to start Raihan. Yay! Okay, so now we have jump cut to the Raihan fight. And man, let me tell you, matching that up audio-wise, I had recorded the last bit before I edited, and then I did the editing, and now I'm recording this bit as I basically rewatched the footage of the Raihan fight. And let me tell you, editing that to actually make it line up was actually a massive pain. So, yeah, that was another 30 minutes today that I probably should have spent more wisely. Oh, this has been a mess of a day. Okay, so walking on in, I'm gonna go ahead and just speed through the opening again until we get to the actual battle itself. Whenever he says, "let the winds blow," I'm always just sitting there and, like, my mind juxtaposes Elsa from Frozen with Raihan. I know she's got, like, what is it, like, let the cold winds blow? Something like that? Anyway, just let the winds blow, let the cold winds blow, whatever. It makes me wonder. I'm sure I'm not the only person to have made that association in my head. And it makes me wonder if anybody's gone and drawn Raihan in Elsa's dress from Frozen. Because I would really like to see that if they have. Ugh. Okay, so in the second attempt now, Mr. Popper's ice face has just gotten broken. Which was a lot earlier, actually, than the last time, or the first attempt at this fight before Lapras had been properly G-maxed. And man, do we end up getting a lot of use out of Ice Face in this battle. Like, Mr. Popper, absolutely MVP. Like, G-Max Resonance didn't actually end up doing quite as much as I'd expected, but it's okay. Oh, here, that's the Aurora effect. I remember saying that I wish we could have seen that more zoomed in because it looks so pretty. But being completely zoomed out, it makes it less pretty than I would have liked to see it as. And I remember also saying that, oh crap, Stealth Rock, that could be a problem if we end up having to switch in, since I had tried to build a mostly ice team, and of course, rock and ice don't mix very nicely. But we end up not having to actually switch out or in, if I recall correctly, so, didn't really matter, just kind of a wasted turn for Egglocke. Another thing I remember saying was I remember just gushing about how much I love the design of G-Max Lapras. Like, I'm not quite as fond of, like, the carved out bits on the shell where it's got, like, I don't know. Like those layers or whatever where it's been carved out at certain points, I'm not super fond of that. However, the music sheet note thing with the little icicle bits as like music notes. Now that I love. Like, that is just A+, absolutely so much my jam. I love it. And the little sparklies too. And then this is where I had said, oh crap, I forgot that was going to switch it to rain. That was not my intention. And then I was just kind of smacking myself for doing that. I don't think I ended up setting up the hail immediately after. I think I waited a turn to do so. But I don't 100% recall. Yeah, I think I used Icicle Crash here. It used Protect. And I ended up just wasting the turn. Yep, there we go. There's the Protect. And then the Icicle Crash gets wasted. And then I think I set up hail next turn. I think that's how it went. At this point, it's been like over half an hour since I actually did this fight, because I ended up recording until I got to Winden City, which took longer than I had expected it to. In fact, I may end up having to cut this episode again, just because it got kind of long, so oops. Duraludon actually offered potentially a really annoying fight for us, but it ended up being okay, largely thanks to Icehead, which was really nice. Like, you'll see, Icehead just minimizes the effect of the G-Max on Duraludon. I remember also saying, oh yeah, this is risky, when I had used Belly Drum on Mr. Popper, because I was like, if they get through Icehead, he's probably just completely fucked. But fortunately, That's not what ends up happening. Duraludon is one that I kind of don't know if I like the design on. Because, like, I like most of it. I like the sort of, like, the crystalline bit in the middle and the skyscraper bit. But I don't like the weird-ass head at the top of it. Like, it's just, I don't know. That's the part that I don't like, and I'm kind of mixed feelings about. This is the part where I'd said, God damn it, more Sandstorm again. And then I was like, oh, he says the winds rise again. I didn't know he had programmed in extra dialogue for when he actually resumes the sandstorm. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. And so after I take out Sandaconda here, that's when I'm gonna hail, I think. Like I said, this battle was like half an hour ago. I don't remember it at this point. But I'm pretty sure that I had taken advantage of the 2-on-1, and that's when I set up the hail. I might even have used Lapras's turn to heal up, I think? I know at one point he wastes a G-Max Rocks Fall on the Ice Head. And it ends up coming really close. Maybe I get rid of the paralysis. Maybe that's what I do. Yeah, I get rid of the paralysis here. Because I hadn't gotten hit by it yet, but that doesn't mean it wasn't gonna happen. So I go ahead and I cure Mr. Popper of paralysis. He uses Max Steel Spike, which gets absorbed by Ice Head. And then I think next turn he's also going to Max Rocks Fall Mr. Popper, which will again get absorbed by Ice Face, not Ice Head. Ice Face, Ice Head, same shit. Anyway, I get the Ice Face right back because I use Heal. Hail. Heal, Hail, same thing. Not quite the same thing, but I think this is like the third or fourth time that I've gotten Ice Face back now at this point in this battle alone. I could be wrong on that, but it felt like Ice Face was doing a lot of work for us and just making it overall significantly easier for us. Here's the point where I had said something like, oh, well, Aurora Veil's gone, but at this point I don't think we need it so badly. So I ended up using Body Press a lot on Duraludon because I was like, oh, well, fighting is super effective against it, and because it's part steel, I don't think ice is. But I'm not sure if that was actually the right call. And yep, there you see again, he wasted 2 out of his 3 offensive turns of G-Max on only trying to remove Mr. Popper's Ice Face, which was fantastic for me. Like, I was absolutely down with that. And I think what we do here is we got Duraludon extra low, but oh wait, no, I remember what happened here was I was sitting here and I was going to heal up Mr. Popper because I was really worried about him dying on this last turn. But then Duraludon went back to being normal size, like it fell out of the Gigantamax, that was its 3rd turn, and I realized I can just outspeed it now because it doesn't have the extra stats from G-Maxing. Because I'd known it was faster, but I know that Duraludon as a whole is very slow. So you can see me sitting here and going, oh yeah, I'm going to Hyper Potion, and then going, no, wait, I can outspeed it and Icicle Crash it to death. Or no, not Icicle Crash, I end up hailing to get Ice Face back up. But whatever. The point is, I was, like I said, I was really worried about that safety there. And I did not want Mr. Popper going down. And so he body presses, and again, all he does is get rid of the Ice Face. Like I said, Ice Face did massive work for us. We probably could have killed it with Icicle Crash, but like I said, I did not want to take that chance. Because if it had survived and then body pressed us there, that would have been the end of Mr. Popper. And yes, I was going to be forced to lose Iconic at the end of this battle, because we had just resurrected Iconic temporarily thanks to the shiny on Pokemon Go. Because that was how I had ruled it, was because it was not in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Probably I should have not counted it as all. Shouldn't have counted it at all, but I had set in my heart that I really wanted to do this one fight, Weather Team against Weather Team, Hail against Sandstorm. And so I took the advantage of the shiny in Pokemon Go to temporarily resurrect Iconic. So It just was a temporary thing, and what I do is I now deposit Iconic into Valhalla because it has earned it for doing, like, it wasn't by any means the MVP in this battle. I think that definitely goes to Mr. Popper. But it did well, and I do love Gmax Lapras, and even though it had the whole annoyance of me having to go through and re-earn all of those max mushrooms, I was still going to give it a spot in Valhalla. It did well. So you'll see me here moving Iconic into Valhalla. And then what I'm going to do is there's a lot of crap to go through in the rest of this video. So I'm going to do that. But first I'm going to edit this clip in for Raihan, and then we'll move on to the rest after. Okay, so I've just finished the editing on the last bit, and now we're going to go through and just speed through a bunch of the next bit. This video is going to end up being about 32 minutes long, I think, ish, maybe 31. So it's going to be a bit of a longer video, but I'm doing what I can to reduce the time on it. I've preemptively done the editing, and then I am talking over the edited clips here. So you can see me speeding through the story here to just make this a little faster. Because, like I said, I did not realize that the audio had gotten screwed up. Or that my mic had gotten muted. And so I went through pretty much most of this. I think I did, at some point, realize that my mic was muted and talk near the end. But by that time, you know, at this point, it just makes more sense to re-record over it. Because otherwise, it's a whole lot of difficulty to try and get through it. So there are 2 battles that I'm going to actually not speed through, but the rest of it is pretty uninteresting and uneventful, so I just go through and speed through most of it at 300% speed. So that includes this battle where I thought about just straight up swapping, but then I decided to get in a Swords Dance or 2. Once it used Calm Mind, I had thought that I was going to use Calm Mind, and then I realized that it was Cosmic Power instead. Or, no, that was actually later on. Whoops. Spoilers! So I was gonna crunch here, and then I realized, crap, it's fairy and it's not super effective. It's just normal effective. It didn't matter. Like, it wasn't gonna be a loss just for it being part fairy now, but I remember being quite annoyed that it was now part fairy. So this is one of the battles that I am not speeding up, because it is a lot tougher than I had expected it to be honest. So he starts with Weavile, and I was sitting there and I was like, do I really want to keep Solrock in to get a Swords Dance swap? And I decided no, because I know that Weavile has a really good priority Ice-type move that it, of course, has Stab on, and it's an unfortunate thing, and I didn't want Solrock to get hit by it. So I just straight up swap into Pause. And fortunately, he ends up spending most of his time not actually attacking. Like, I don't know if he ever actually got an attack off. I think all he did was Hone Claws. Which was potentially terrifying if he had ever actually decided to attack. But maybe he did, actually. Maybe he attacked once. But if he did attack, it was only the once. No, there we go. Okay, so Weavile dies. And that's not an issue. So let's see. Okay, he brings out Claydol next. And I switch into Nala because I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, we've got Crunch. It's all good. And, you know, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, what if it has Earthquake? But then I'm like, okay, well, no, because Earthquake would be a problem, but I've got Intimidate. And Intimidate will lower its attack, and so Earthquake shouldn't one-shot me. And so I go ahead and I Crunch it, and I'm figuring it'll be a one-shot, and then it's not. And I'm like, oh crap, please don't Earthquake me. And then it Earth Powers, and that's even worse. And I'm sitting there panicking. And Nala's left with 14 health, and I'm like, oh crap, the hail, okay. And then Nala survives by the skin of her teeth. She gets the Crunch in, And Claydol goes down, but man, I was so terrified there. Like, you should have heard me going, no, 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 Earth Power, no, 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 no. But it turned out okay. And then, of course, the usual, god damn it, pause, when pause tries to evolve. And I sit here healing up after that last battle because I didn't want to go into the next fight with unhealed Pokemon. I go around to try and see if I can go around this way, and it fails. And initially I'm annoyed at the Sneasel, and then I go, oh wait, I can catch it. And I switch in Francis, thinking that Bullet Punch won't kill it. But from the fact that I just said that way, you've probably realized Bullet Punch is about to one-shot it, because I underestimated how much damage just Francis would do. So, that's our encounter for this route. Gone and lost. Whoops. And so I go ahead and I get really annoyed throughout the course of this of how many trainers I have to fight on this route. Because I'm trying to keep my levels relatively down. But I can't help it. There's so many mandatory trainers that we get a bunch of levels on a lot of our Pokemon, and I can't do anything whatsoever about it. So, again, after this fight, I'm just going to heal up the Pokemon, so again, I'm just going to speed through that. Or do I? No, actually, I think I failed to heal up. And then this next battle is more questionable because of the fact that I hadn't healed up. But I had thought that I had, but I don't think I actually did, and I think that does actually become relevant. Oh no, I guess I did. I was just Nala who wasn't. Yeah, here's where I thought I had Calm Mind, because I was like, oh, I'm going to Calm Mind, raise my sweat special, and swap to Honeycrisp. But then I realized, oh, wait, no, that's Cosmic Power, not Calm Mind. I'm an idiot. So instead I end up swapping, and I just switch to Senny, because I have the 4 stages of attack boost, and so I figure it ain't gonna do shit. So I close combat, and it crits, which is entirely unnecessary. It would have been one-shot anyway. And the Sandstorm goes away, and I'm actually surprised here to see that the Hail restarts. Like, I had never known that if you change the weather on a weather route to another weather, and then that weather wears off, the original weather comes back. I never knew that. Once again, Pause tries to evolve. We ignore it. We fail to heal between this battle and the last, and that comes in and makes this battle a lot harder. Like, this battle is going to have some consequences. Let's just say that straight away. So, I think I do just straight up hard swap here, because I don't want Icicle priority ice moves murdering the crap out of Cursed. And so we get the Intimidate in, which is nice, because I'm pretty sure Darmanitan is almost exclusively physical moves. Yeah, and then we get the Icicle Crash in. It actually does surprisingly good damage for the fact that it's not very effective, and Pause is holding the Eviolite. So, you know, it's not the end of the world, but it's gotten us a bit lower than we would have liked, and especially with Flare Blitz hurting us pretty badly from one-shotting Darmanitan. It leaves Pause pretty low and not within comfortable battle limits. And so I think next he brings in his own Phalanx, I think? Yep, there we go, there's Phalanx. And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, fuck, I don't really have anything. And I switch in Cursed because I'm like, well, I should outspeed it, I think. And we've got Zen Headbutt. It's our only psychic move. We don't have any flying moves. Because Corviknight is still, or it's not even Corviknight, it's a Rookity in our PC. But then what I forget is that First Impression exists, and I didn't think that Phalanx could get it. So I'd been relying on the outspeed with Zen Headbutt, and then Cursed goes down. And it's just... I spent a moment there mourning, like, it didn't look like it as much because I have the clips... Oh, or no, I don't have the clips sped up, but I spent a minute mourning and just going, shit, what do? I have nothing against fighting, and I can't swap in Nala or Pause, which would normally be my go-to, because they're just too low. I can bring in just Francis, but he's probably going to be a sacrifice, and I'll get the retaliation kill from another Pokemon. Because, you know, I figured Bullet Punch is probably not going to kill it. And then I assume that Close Combat will kill Just Francis. But what I didn't expect was how little Just Francis actually did with that. And then again, I didn't expect for Just Francis to actually survive. So what I decided to do here is I decided to heal up Just Francis, because Phalanx should use Close Combat again. And as long as it doesn't crit, we should survive. And it will lower its defense again, and hopefully a double defense down Bullet Punch will actually kill it. And so it does Close Combat again. Fortunately, it does not crit. However, we can't take a crit for sure, like, no matter what. Like, even if we healed up to full, we definitely can't take a crit. That's just, the damage range is too high. So we have to risk it with another Bullet Punch, even though I would rather play it safe. We can't. This is our best chance of winning against this. So fortunately, with the 2 defense downs, it does actually die. And so we have avenged Cursed. And we do decide, in the end, that Cursed will go to Valhalla, by the way, because of its excellent performance. He brings in Egglocke, and I'm sitting there going, crap, what types is this? I know it's part fighting, because that's the one I never expect. But I always forget whether it is or is not part water. And so I went and I looked it up. That's why you can see this paused here for a bit. And I looked it up, and it was not part water. So I switched to Honeycrisp, which is really my only option here, because Senny can't do much against it. I'm just going to have to hope that the special attack on Honeycrisp gets through. Usually fighting Pokemon have higher defense than special defense. So I just swap in Honeycrisp, hoping that it will be able to take down Egglocke, because I just don't have any other options. We try not to use Honeycrisp too much, ironically, because we want to use it and we don't want it to get killed again. But it's just... it's rough. And so I'm sitting here and I'm going, oh no, don't die, don't die, don't die. And then it doesn't die, and I'm so relieved, because I could not take losing Honeycrisp again. That would be devastating. So I think one more Dragon Pulse does finish it off. That or the Hail finishes it off. One of the two. Yeah, the Dragon Pulse does it. And Egglocke goes down, and that is the end of that fight. But that has kind of brought a few things to our attention. It has exposed that we have a massive problem with fighting Pokemon, and it also killed Cursed. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put Cursed in Valhalla, because Cursed did absolute work. If you remember that one episode, I think it was like 22, I want to say, that I literally just called Cosmic Power, or something like that. Yeah, Cursed has absolutely earned a place in Valhalla. So we go and I forget exactly what I said, but I said a few words thanking Cursed and saying that we would miss him, or it rather, and all of that. And then we try and decide what we want to bring with us. Because I was sitting there, I was like, we need something about fighting types. We can't bring in an ice type. That's not going to help us with that. And I ended up going with Davy Jones, because what I realized right here, for some reason I had been thinking that Davy Jones was Dragon and Grass, just like Honeycrisp. And I ended up realizing as I was mousing over it that, oh no, actually, it's Ghost and Grass. So that is more useful than Dragon and Grass, which would have been just straight up a redundant thing with Honeycrisp. So I end up having to level up Davy Jones to reach our proper levels. And so I got it actually really close on the second try here, so... we think about some of these moves, and we decide not to, and blah 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 blah. We heal up, because there's a couple more trainers. And what I actually do here is I say out loud, I suspect I'm going to have to fight every other trainer on this route, including that double trainer ahead of me. But I still try anyway. But what I don't do is I sit there, and as soon as I get into this battle, I'm like, damn, I should have adjusted my Pokemon to get better double battle results. But it ends up turning out okay. Like, Senny is what I would have wanted to bring in. Nala isn't quite, but it's okay. So I swap in Paws, because of course they've got double steel types. And I close combat the crap out of Heliolisk. It goes down pretty easily. As you can tell from the fact that this battle is sped up, not a whole lot goes on. But, yeah. So then we take down... I think we... Oh, do we swap here? Yeah, we swap, because I knew that Noivern was part flying. And I couldn't remember what the other part was. I was like, I think it's dragon and flying, but I'm not positive. And so I go and I look it up at some point, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it is dragon and flying. And I didn't want, in case it had a flying move, I didn't want Sunny going down, because I feel like we're really going to need Sunny in the Pokemon League. And so what we end up doing here is we end up keeping out Paz and Francis instead. And I end up using Flare Blitz to get rid of the Togedemaru. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know how that's pronounced at all. Francis, I think we keep Francis alive. I think he just barely lives. I'm pretty sure we just Hyper Potion him. Oh, no, we switch him. That's what we do. So it ends up... That's right, because I remember I was making a comment about how similar in design Nala and Paz are. Like, they're not exact, obviously. But, like, they've both got sort of the black fur stripes on their legs. Very similar kind of tail with a sort of starry outburst at the end. And yeah. And so this is the end of the episode. I know this is kind of abrupt, sorry. But we just got to Winden, so... This has been episode 29. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time in episode 30, where we will begin to take on the story, the Pokemon League, and all of that. And also I'll do some fashion shopping, since there's a fashion shop in the cinematic. So yeah, see you next time.